Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
Bwaaa!
Bwaaa trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bwaaa.
Wow.
A King of the Hill Rewatch podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, Season 2, Episode 12.
Episode 12.
Meet the Manger Babies.
The least favorite.
Really?
Not the least favorite episode, but the least favorite of like the top 10 episodes.
Really?
Because everybody, like, there's a lot of people that put this one in their top 10.
I love it.
This would be my this would be my number 10. It'd be
Why do you
like
think
my
that
least
is?
favorite. I don't know. I don't know. It just wasn't. There's some good jokes. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like even the first joke about the American TV or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I really like that and stuff. So there's parts of it that I like, but as a whole, I just didn't really like it. Like
as these episodes get later and later into the run,
yeah.
The jokes get more and more layered. Like there's more and more stuff going on.
It's unrealistic to think that Hank or any Southern man who likes football, who loves God and goes to church on a Sunday morning, would waste a Sunday afternoon going to a puppet show.
I get it.
And
I get it. But he's
and
doing
I know
it
he
for
would.
Luanne.
I know he's doing it for Luanne and all that,
is.
but he already did it for Luanne.
I know.
He stepped in and built the whole for her to be upset is selfish. I think it is selfish because he wasn't selfish. Him and his buddies all got together. They built this beautiful a puppet stage for her.
Yeah.
And they helped her with that, and he even helped her when she was, she needed help in her show.
You
he helped her.
You are the vitriol coming from you. Look at you. You are
I
worked
know,
up.
I was ready for it. I was thinking about it as I was watching it. I'm like, I really don't like this episode. But it's a good
really
episode.
funny.
It is a decent episode as far as the jokes and stuff in it. There's some really good jokes.
I just want to remind you that this is a cartoon, so even though
It
it's
is,
not
but-
realistic.
But we are, I have to get into it a little bit
Yeah, I
more
understand.
than the
I
average
get it.
viewer.
I get it. Sure.
And as I was watching it, I watched it, more than once, but I was just like, man, this is really just not a good episode. I just don't know why this is in everybody's top 10.
So we start at Hank's house, of course, and Hank is lamenting to Bobby over the fact that the Super Bowl party's in 10 days and his television goes on the disabled list, which I thought was a good way to refer to it.
Yeah.
Bobby,
Well, it's a football game.
That's
yeah.
right. That's what I'm saying. And Bobby's like, well, why don't we just get a new TV? He said, well, I wish that was possible, son, but the terrible truth is that America, the best country in the history of the world, no longer makes television.
If I let
sets.
this one, if I let this one TV fall apart, a piece of America dies. I like the punishments.
I kind of understand what he's saying.
Well, I like how Hank always punishes him for weird stuff like this. He goes, well, couldn't we just buy like a Japanese one? Bobby, go to your room.
Bobby, go to your room. That's right.
Well, it is true, though, because the best, like, as far as retro video gaming goes, the best TV sets that you could play on, and some people still sell them for hundreds of dollars, like, $300-$400, depending on them.
TVs.
Is the CRT TVs is the Sony Trinitron.
Oh, yeah. Those were high-dollar TVs, man.
And they're still, like, for video, as far as, like, hardcore video game retro collectors, that's the preferred TV for pretty much everybody to play on. Yeah.
I thought about
Which
you
is
this
a Japanese TV.
I thought about you this week with all your game playing and stuff. Across the street from us, there's an empty lot here at the studio.
Yeah.
And there was a old TV just sitting out in the middle of that lot for like 2 or 3 days.
Oh, there was.
I,
That's
I meant to tell you, you need to come get this TV.
That's funny.
So next thing we see is Luanne sitting on the curb. She looks a little lovelorn and depressed, but we find out that she's waiting for Buckley. Peggy yells out to her that the telephone's for her. It's Buckley. She comes in and talks to Buckley of Megalomart fame. Says, what? Of course not. Yeah, we can go to the outlet stores next week. It's not like they're having a sale or anything. They have everyday low prices. She's so depressed when she says that, which is so great. And then she hangs up and she starts talking to Peggy. She says, why are people so mean? It's been 2,000 years since Jesus was born, but we're still acting like cavemen.
That's the second episode. That's back-to-back episodes where they discuss how old Jesus is.
Well, the first one was the preacher. Yeah, it was happening on his birthday.
Yeah.
So Peggy feels bad for Luanne like she does every time. And then in comes Hank, and he's looking at the shopping list that's on the refrigerator. He says, Peggy, we're going shopping for Superbowl party, not your feminine items. Diet soda.
You have to. Hank, we got a situation here.
It doesn't say tampons.
No, it says
diet soda. And so Peggy, she pops up and says, we got a situation here. Luanne's come down with a bad case of the why me's. Come on, do something to cheer her up, please. And then you get Hank saying, Luanne, me and Bobby are heading over to the Megalomart. You want to go for a ride? I didn't think that Luanne would want to go since that's where Buckley's at. Right?
Yeah,
but maybe he's not working. I guess she just found out he's not working. He's doing
is it okay if I don't feel like talking?
Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah, then it's going to be great if you don't talk.
Sure.
But then you get into the truck and they're driving there and she is talking. She's like unloading everything.
Yeah, it's not just Buckley, it's everything. The world's going to pieces. I mean, look at any newspapers. Aliens are getting autopsies and devil babies are being born every day.
Devil babies are being born
Bat
every
Boy.
day.
Remember Bat Boy?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of. Yeah,
that's what I thought about. I don't think of devil babies. I thought of Bat Boy.
The Weekly World News.
Yeah,
that's
the Weekly World News.
Yeah. And Hank's like, that may be true, Luanne, but it's up to each of us to make the world a better place. I mean,
I think it's Fox News now, right? Where they do that, aliens getting autopsies and devil babies being born.
I don't even believe that stuff anymore. It seems like every time I'm at the grocery store when I'm looking for that kind of stuff now, it's all
Woman's Weekly.
Well, no, it's they have those papers, but it's always like the Queen has an extra leg or something. It's
my mom always used to get some like women's empowerment magazine, Women's World or something.
Yeah,
I would always do the crossword puzzle in it.
Jeff Foxworthy lost a lot of weight, or what? It's just I don't know. It's not the
good.
same.
I'm glad for him.
I don't think he did.
I thought it was all the red meat. I'm sure he drinks a lot of red meat.
He's trying to stay away from that red meat.
Eats a lot of red meat.
He drinks a lot of red. Well, he may drink it. Maybe that was his problem.
Blended red meat.
Blends it up. Yeah.
Maybe.
So he tells her that it's up to each one of us to make the place the world a better place, and that's very true.
Yeah.
He says, "Look at me, for example. I sell a clean, burning, energy efficient fuel."
This is funny right here. She goes, "Do you think I could sell propane?" He goes,
Oh no,
no. What I'm saying is, you got to find your own calling.
She said, "Yeah, you're probably right. You're always right." She's so depressed all the time. Like she really does get depressed so quickly.
Yeah, she does get. Well, I mean, you got to think of her situation.
I know. Her mama stabbed her daddy with a fork.
And she doesn't have a trailer to live in anymore.
That's right,
tornado
because it's on its side, which is so weird. And this is one that. So here's the thing. Hank sees a garage sale, and he immediately is like, "Garage sale!" Pulls over. So have you been to a lot of garage sales in your life?
Yeah, I've been to a fair amount. I like garage selling and antiquing and stuff like that.
When I was a kid, my mom, we would go to garage sales every weekend. And, like I told you earlier, I used to collect and resell toys and different stuff like that. I would get a lot of it from garage sales and storage sales and stuff like that. But my mom also had a lot of garage sales. So I can remember growing up that our back room, we had a pool table back there, and it was one of those Montgomery Ward specials, fake wood, the whole thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It was a cheap pool table.
Yeah, cheap pool table.
But we put a ping pong table over the top of it, right? So it was a dual purpose table. And I just remember she would gather all this crap together, and she would spend 2 or 3 days pricing everything out, getting everything ready for
Going
the
through the
big
Sears catalog,
sale.
making sure prices are competitive.
She would spend so much time on it. And I caught the same bug where I felt like, if I get the right stuff and have the right sale, I can make a lot of money. Because I mean, she had some sales where she'd make $2,500. I mean, she would do really well, right? But it would take so much time. And so when I started doing it for myself, having garage sales and things like that, there's no way. I'm not spending 2 days pricing all this
Well,
crap.
now people have online garage sales.
Dude, I just put it out in my driveway, and then if you come and ask me what it is, according to who you are, it may be a different price.
Yeah. Well, if you come up and I've got, 100, a stack of something, and you're
That's what
like,
I'm
well, I'll
saying.
give you this much for that. When you've had in your mind, you're going to piece it out. I'm like, well, no, I'll take that. That's a good price.
That's what I always told people. I'm like, I tell you what, start a pile. More stuff you get, the cheaper it gets. You know? And so,
sure.
I mean, because that's truth. I want all this shit gone, you know? So anyway, he stops for the garage sale. And then we see him digging in an old TV, and he goes, this is it. One deflection coil made in the US of A. With this in our set, the only thing beyond our control is the size of the NFC victory.
Yeah.
So obviously, Dallas Cowboys in the NFC.
Which at this point, the Dallas Cowboys are coming off of like some like an historic run.
Super Bowl wins,
well, this is the last. This is 96 was the last one, and the last Super Bowl that they've still have gotten, and so I think that's. They're going into 90. This is 1997.
This is right in the wheelhouse.
So this is right after that. So
right
there's still hope. So I want to let you Cowboys fans know there was still hope then. Now there is none. There is no
really
hope
isn't
now.
Much. Yeah. They got $1 billion stadium though.
They also have like the most successful, monetarily successful sports franchise in the world. But
that hasn't won in 20 years.
I can polish turds too.
So if you didn't get this from that, Rusty's a big AFC fan. So we get Bobby popping up, and he's like, "Why don't we just watch the game at Mr. Dotrieve's house? I like it there. He keeps snacks in the couch cushions."
Oh God, ew,
yeah, gross.
That's nasty.
He says, "No, Bobby. The Super Bowl party goes Bill, Hank, Dale, Boomhauer. This is a Hank year. I want everything to be perfect. People are still talking about Super Bowl 24. Boomhauer's dip was so thick, our chips were snapping like Joe Theismann's birdie leg." Do you remember that?
I don't remember it from personally watching it, but I've seen clips of his leg getting.
So he was playing for the Giants.
Yeah,
and
he played for the Giants.
I think it was the Redskins that they were playing against, the Redskins at the time, who are now Guardians.
The Washington Commanders.
Guardians are Cleveland.
They're actually under a lot of scrutiny right now. The leadership, Dan Snyder, and all that stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
A lot of.
Did you ever watch?
It was about the cheerleaders, though. They were parading the cheerleaders around like escorts.
Did you ever watch Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
I actually watched that
Netflix?
Series multiple times. Yeah, that's an amazing show.
So what's so funny to me is now you
Tina
watch
Fey.
it. Well, yeah, but now you watch it and they go through the whole Redskins thing where she's trying to, because she's part Native American, her friend is, and she's trying to get them to rename the Redskins and all that stuff. It's just so funny now.
And they
because talk
to the leadership too. Yeah, like she's like dating a guy or something. When she was dating somebody or something.
She's dating the other half of Mr. Show, not Bob Odenkirk, but the bald guy.
Cross?
Yeah, David Cross. Yeah, that's who she's dating. He's so weird in that. So anyway, he says, the chips were snapping like Joe Theismann's birdie leg. You see Luanne trip over a box and outspill these puppets. She says, "My name's Luanne. What's yours?" She picks up a cat puppet.
I'm Mr. Cat.
"I'm Mr. Cat. Meow, do you do?" Which is terrible, but whatever. Here comes Hank, and he says, "You're pretty good with those." She goes,
"This is some of this line is like some of the saddest shit on earth."
She goes, "I used to play with the puppets all the time with the social worker."
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God. Hank says, "Hey, how much for the puppets?" And she goes, "You mean it?" She gets so excited about these stupid puppets. He goes, "Well, if it costs 25 cents to make you smile, it's a bargain."
It's a bargain.
And then I love the fact that Bobby is the comedy relief. He runs up and he's got this red wig on. He goes, "Look, Dad, an old wig."
"Bobby, take that off."
All right, so we are back at, now we're moving over to the Arlen First Methodist Church, where Luanne is talking to Reverend Thompson. And she says, "I'm not saying it was a miracle, Reverend Thompson, but I don't usually trip into boxes." She said, "I think God has a plan for me, and it involves puppets."
Yeah.
Reverend Thompson says, Luanne, I like the idea of a Christian puppet show, but try to see things from my perspective as a spiritual leader of this congregation. We just laid new carpet in the activities room. You put 30 kids in there and lose their attention, fruit punch is all over my new carpet.
And that is exactly what they would be worried about at a church near you.
That's exactly
they would be worried about
yeah.
the damn carpet, not like activities for kids.
She says, please just hear me out. You know how baby Jesus was born in a manger? And then I love the long pause, like she's waiting for the guy to catch up with her. She's talking to the reverend, and she goes, "You remember how Jesus was born in a manger?"
Yeah,
just this long ass
specifically.
pause.
Hold on, I'm back to the activities room, and they're being more focused on the activities room or whatever. I remember a time when I was a kid and I was in church where I was getting yelled at, and they were like, "This is Jesus time, not time to have fun." And I was like, "We can't have fun." And Jesus, no, it's time for Jesus, not time for fun. I was like, "Oh well, damn, I want to go home. Then this
That's
sucks."
true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, that's how you get all those kids involved. You tell them not to have any fun.
I remember, well, it's just funny because I specifically remember being yelled at, told not to have, like,
I don't doubt
it's not time for fun, it's time for Jesus. And I'm like, well, damn, Jesus would want me to have fun.
I think Jesus probably would want you to have fun. So she takes this long pause and she says, okay, baby Jesus was born in a manger. Now, what if, Reverend, what if the barnyard animals who witnessed the miracle birth of the Son of God had a show of their own?
Yeah.
And the Reverend's like, well, but Jesus only spent a few days in the manger, and after Luke 2:16, there's no mention of the animals. And she goes, are you sure?
Yeah, trust me.
He goes, trust me.
Trust me.
He said, after he leaves the manger, the Bible pretty much sticks with Jesus.
Yeah. Well, it is after the manger story, yeah.
She says, maybe that's good, because then the animals are kind of like us. They're all just waiting for Jesus to come back. She says, in the meantime, don't you think they have all sorts of crazy adventures?
Call it the Manger Babies.
So they're back at
Manger Babies.
they're back at Hank's dinner table, or the Hills dinner table, and she says, "Yeah, I'm going to call it the Manger Babies." We're headlining in the activities room next week.
Yeah, headlining in the activities room.
And Hank,
I wonder who the opener is.
Hank is a kid with grape juice.
Yeah.
Hank is thrilled. He's like, Manger Babies, how do you like that? And Peggy, they're being so supportive, which is so great. I mean, they always are of Luanne. They're very, very supportive. She says, it's going to be a great show. She goes, Luanne says, I know, but I've got so much work to do. I have to write a script, build a puppet theater, learn to talk without moving my lips.
Yeah.
Hank says, well, you can make a theater out of that old refrigerator box in the garage. I keep it pretty clean. Why does he still have the damn refrigerator box?
Is the garage clean or is the refrigerator box clean? What is he keeping clean?
I would imagine both.
He's probably wiping it down, make sure there's no dust on it.
I can't even imagine how clean Hank's garage would be.
I can't imagine how clean that refrigerator box is.
That's true. That's true. She's thrilled. She's like, Uncle Hank, thank you.
And then the boys instantly jump on it with tape measures and everything.
Well, yeah, she's out there messing with it, and the boys love the fact that she's out there working, and they're like, yep, that's great. You're doing a good job. She says, thanks, guys, if you have any suggestions. And then, boy, they just bum rush her. They come over and they start
doing all
fixing
the
it.
measuring, and then Dale goes, you might want to spell theater R-E. It looks classier that way. Yeah.
All right, and that is a commercial break. We will go ahead and take one, and we will be right back.
Right back.
Bwaaa tries to fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas.
All right, so we are back, and we are at the church. This is the big debut of the Manger Babies, and we get Reverend Thompson.
Yeah, for those of you who missed Thomason. For those of you who missed my sermon this morning, I'd like to remind you that spilling anything on a new carpet is a sin.
Now, please give a warm welcome to Miss Luanne Platter. And this is this is the first time playing a clip on this show. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Clip.
Here we go.
Now, please give a warm welcome to Miss Luanne Platter.
Once upon a time, almost 2,000 of years ago, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ was born in a manger.
In a manger.
And in that manger lived the cutest little animals. This is their story.
I love that music.
Oh, yeah, I do too. It sounds like a piano on like an old piano TV phone.
It sounds like a piano like in the mall when they used to have those piano stores.
Or one of those $25 pianos off of Wish.
Yeah.
Hee-haw.
Yeah.
Meow. Octopus too. Gurgle,
Gurgle, gurgle.
But let's not forget the very British bird, Sir Reginald Featherbottom the third. Charmed, I'm sure God knows. They are the Manger Babies getting in trouble. The Manger Babies spread that message of love. Manger Babies.
Just jams all those words in there.
Manger
Big flourish at the end there.
Yeah. I want to give props though from this particular scene. I want to give props to the late great Brittany Murphy's voice acting.
Oh boy, you're not kidding, man.
Man, the voice act, because anything that I've seen Brittany Murphy in, I don't ever think Luanne Platter.
No,
when
I don't
hear
either.
her
I don't
voice.
either. Yeah, absolutely. No,
she
did a
definitely
wonderful job with
changes
that.
her
Yeah.
voice to make, like, I could hear Beavis and Butthead in Mike Judge's
Sure,
voice.
yeah.
I can hear Boomhauer in his voice.
Yeah.
I can hear Hank in his voice. And
you don't-
Stephen Root, I can hear all of Stephen
Oh,
Root's
yeah,
characters
yeah,
in
yeah.
his voice.
Absolutely.
But you just don't really, I just don't hear it with. If you go watch 8 Mile with Brittany Murphy in it,
Yeah.
and then listen to Luann Platter's voice,
It's not the same
I
person.
don't.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
think
hear
it's
it.
the same
I
person.
don't hear it.
So while that was all going on, Hank and Peggy are at the back of the room.
And you can see this little finishing nail he's got sticking out a quarter inch on
He
the corner.
says it's sticking out a quarter inch, and he's really, really worried about it. And Peggy's like, Hank. And I love the fact that Peggy's got this gigantic camcorder over her shoulder.
Huge camcorder.
She's taping the whole thing. big old VHS camcorder.
Which shows you that inflation hadn't, totally ruined the 90s.
Oh yeah, sure.
Hank was still a very wealthy,
Well,
well-off individual.
I'm assuming that this camcorder's probably seen a few years. I would assume that they got it about the time Bobby was born.
Potentially, yeah.
Try to watch Bobby take his first steps and stuff like that. So Peggy tells Hank to shut up, and Hank is. What's funny to me is as Luanne is saying all the stuff that we're going to talk about, Hank is just kind of looking around the room to see if anybody is noticing that quarter-inch finishing nail
you
stick out.
Kind of quietly hear people, all the guys were like, "Oh, top
Yeah.
yeah." Everybody.
She goes, "You're the only one who notices," and he looks over, and there's like 3 guys over there talking about it. But Luanne gives us this whole play on going to the movies. She says, "Who wants to go to the movies?" And then the donkey says, "There's 5 of us. We only have 4 tickets." And then Reginald Featherbottom III says, "One of us blokes could sneak in." And so she gives them a whole lesson on, sneaking into the movies, kind of stealing time from people and stuff like that. Hank, again, is worried about his bad craftsmanship. He says it reflects poorly.
Yeah, that's all he's worried about is his craftsmanship, which is funny.
And so these guys are looking, and then we go back to Luanne, and she's putting on her show, and she says, 4 tickets, but there's 5 of you. We're trying to sneak into the movies. You Manger. And then she's got a doll that is the assistant manager of the theater. Says,
I'm the
you
assistant
guys are in
manager
a
of the
lot of
theater.
trouble. I'm locking you in a closet. When does that happen at the movies? they catch you sneaking into a movie and they lock you in the closet.
Well, that would be sketchy.
And so she ends it up with them getting locked in a closet, and he goes, and that's why you shouldn't sneak into the movies. The end.
Well, how do they get out of the
And
closet?
that's it. Yeah, the kids are.
I'm bored.
The kids
Yeah.
are like, how do they get out? I'm bored.
Yeah, you couldn't fool them.
And then you show a picture of the kid right on the front row, just about to spill his grape juice on that new carpet.
Close to tipping it.
Yeah, it was pretty close. Pretty close.
And it almost seemed deliberate.
So, and it's funny because it's like a little cliffhanger into a commercial break for him. She slumps down behind her refrigerator box, and she's really worried at this point. She
Sweating
seems
bullets.
super frightened. Yeah.
She doesn't know, like, she got here. She just doesn't know how to get to the next part. Yeah.
So when it comes back, it's Luanne talking to herself, and she's like, okay, how do they get out of the closet? Nope, that won't work. This won't work.
Jimmy the Lock with a coat hanger.
Yeah, and Hank is down front at this point because he's worried about that damn nail.
Yeah, he's sitting there trying
And
to tip
so
it with his toe.
Now he's helping Luanne by saying, yeah, they're
Jimmy the Lock with a coat hanger.
again, this is turned into an ASMR podcast.
Yeah.
And so
Welcome to part 2 of our ASMR.
he says, Jimmy the Lock, I'll save you, Manger Babies. And he gets up and he says, I'm the assistant manager of this movie theater. I sell popcorn and popcorn accessories.
I
and
sell
you
popcorn
are fired.
Popcorn accessories.
He fires the guy that works at the theater, lets the Manger Babies free, and then Luanne is able to go, we're free. Thank you, assistant manager. Meow, can we ever repay you? As the cat. He says, by never forgetting this lesson, sneaking into the movies is wrong as spilling juice on a new carpet. And boy, does that preacher love that ending. He comes up and he's like, bravo, bravo. It's so good. And then we go to the back, and Peggy's still back there with her camcorder. And Nancy is standing next to her. And Nancy, who we haven't seen in a while, she comes up and says, Luanne really shouldn't waste this kind of talent on church. If you want, I could show her tape to my boss at Channel 84. He's always looking for quality children's programming of
home videos
of things blowing up. Yeah. Peggy's like, Luanne could really use a boost, but I can't take advantage of your friendship. And Nancy says, Peggy, honey, this is show business. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's what friends do.
So she hands her the VHS tape. We go back to the Hill house. They are still working on the TV. And he goes, all right, we're done, Bobby. It's safe to plug her back in. And this is one of the funniest parts of the entire show. Bobby looks at the wall. The TV's been plugged in all along. And he goes, okay. He doesn't do anything because it's been plugged in the whole time. Yeah, and Peggy is back in the back. She is spraying Scotch Guard on all of the furniture.
Couches, yeah.
Have you ever known Scotch Guard to work?
What is Scotch Guard?
Okay,
I know it starts right.
So Scotch Guard is this can of stuff they used to sell. And whenever you bought furniture,
was it put like a nice shellac on your furniture or something?
Basically, it was to keep stuff off of the cloth, right? So you would spray it down with the Scotch Guard, and then you could pour a glass of wine on it, and it would just
like
go onto the floor.
Hydrophobic material.
It was
whatever.
that kind of thing, right? It never worked.
They have stuff like that works now. There's a lot of shoe collectors and stuff that they spray that hydrophobic stuff on them, and they can walk like in a pouring downpour, like pouring rain, and it just pours off.
Yeah, I just remember buying furniture with my parents when I was small, and they would always try to sell you the optional Scotch Guard. It's like the undercoat on a car.
Yeah,
we can sell you the undercoat. I'm sure it is dated.
Or the tarp. Did they sell a tarp with it? Isn't that what they used to use back in the day? Or plastic?
Well, they used to make those plastic things.
Covers.
Yeah, those plastic see-through things. Well, I don't understand why you're buying a couch if you're going to put plastic over it. But whatever. My grandmother had one.
Oh, well.
She had that and all the hard candy that stuck together.
When I was in my early 20s, I just used to use a sheet.
Yeah,
sheets because there was an old couch that I probably pulled off the side of the street anyway.
Well, my wife and I, we still put a sheet on the couch at night to keep the dogs off of it.
Because
they'll get up on it. And
mine had like anonymous stains from whoever had
anonymous stains.
Whoever had it before I did. It was on the side of the road.
So she says, another Superbowl, another can of Scotch Guard. It'd be a lot simpler if you just asked Bill not to wipe his hands on the cushions. And then Hank has a really good idea. He says, I got a better idea. You sit here, Boomhauer, Dale, me, Bobby will sit here. We'll do a zone defense
around the chips. Yeah. Well, what if Bill tries scrambling? Yeah, he doesn't have that kind of quickness anymore.
He doesn't have that kind of quickness anymore, yeah. In comes Luanne. She says, Aunt Peggy, could you pull your car out of the garage? Me and the babies need to rehearse. And she's waiting on a call from the TV station. So I think the first mistake they made was they told Luanne that the TV station might call and tell her. And Hank, again, being supportive, he's like, they'd be crazy not to. That was the best dang Christian puppet show I've ever seen. How many has he ever seen? How many Christian puppet shows
exist?
Well, that's true, too.
You know what? I bet you there is probably an inordinate amount of Christian puppet shows that exist.
I think there are a lot
maybe not
of Christian
anymore,
puppet shows. Yeah.
But I bet you at the era when puppet, probably between like the 50s and the 80s.
Well, that Everything is Terrible. I'm sure we could find all of the Christian puppet shows that were ever produced in the 80s and 90s.
Well, with that, they had an odd. I noticed that in those compilations.
Shout out to everythingisterrible.com.
Yeah, shout out to them. I noticed that in their compilations, there's an odd amount of religious material.
It's a lot of religious stuff. Yeah,
an odd
because
amount.
A lot of it was produced.
Like an extreme. Amount.
There's a ton.
Like odd.
There's a ton.
And it's all odd. It's not just odd, but it's all odd.
It's very uncomfortable.
It's like very uncomfortable media.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's because of
a lot of aliens.
It's really obscure too.
A lot of aliens looking for Christianity also, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so Luanne is very happy. She's, Uncle Hank, I couldn't have done it without you. You saved the day. That's why this time I wrote a part especially for you.
Especially for you.
He's like, oh, I really appreciate it, Luanne, but my appearance was one night only. She goes, but you got to do it. Who else am I going to get to play God?
And he goes, God.
And she's like, sure, you were a great hero of mine last show, so I figured why not have you play the greatest hero of them all? He goes, I tell you what, Luanne, as soon as I finish turning beer into water, which I think is a little crude for Hank, right?
It's a little, I don't think it's a little crude for him, but I think it's a little crude in context to him speaking to Luanne.
As soon as I finish turning beer into water.
Yeah, if he was outside with the boys, or hell, I think even telling Bobby or Peggy, it wouldn't be that bad, but how prude he is with Luanne, I think it's funny that he would say that.
He says, as soon as I finish turning beer into water, I'll meet you in the garage. And she's like, great. And he said, she made me God. And then Bobby comes up and says, if you're God, I guess that makes me Jesus. And then Peggy's like, oh, Bobby, you really shouldn't say that.
And he goes, that is for Luanne to decide. He said it so matter of fact, too. That is for Luanne to decide.
Yeah. So we're now in the garage with Hank, and he has a beard and hair and the whole thing, which I'm assuming is made out of cotton balls.
Yeah.
Big old white beard. He's got the stereotypical God look. And he says, let there be light. And it was good. And then he lights up this beautiful marquee he's made for her for the front of her refrigerator box theater.
He did a really good job with it.
Oh, my God. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's the best looking marquee for a Christian themed puppet show made in a refrigerator box in a cartoon I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think so.
She says, well, that's super, but can we get back to the script? We're at the part where you meet your arch enemy. And she holds up Bobby's G.I. Joe. And he says, Bobby's G.I. Joe? She goes, no, this is Joe Sixpack.
Joe Sixpack.
He's a drunk driver who died in a car crash and was sent to hell. He borrowed Satan's truck without asking, trashed it, and got kicked out of hell. Now he roams the earth riding buses and doing evil. Riding buses.
Yeah, he's not allowed to drive anymore.
He won't call you on your birthday, and he throws beer bottles at your head. I'm assuming this is a little bit of what Buckley does. And if he's throwing beer bottles at Luanne's head, that is an awful relationship. I'm just saying.
I think this episode, I was trying to think of the two that wrote this. I want to say these are the guys who did, because it's two guys that they do, when they write, these two particular ones, I think they're the ones that did the Kung Fu Panda, Jonathan Aibel and Glenn Berger, I think, the two. I think they did. They either did that or planes, whatever it is. They always write together. All the episodes that they've done so far, we've listened to a few of them. We've done a few of them. It was the Westy Side story with the dog.
Oh yeah,
and then which is the introduction to the Soofa Phones episode. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the Boggle Champ episode. I love that one. The Arrowhead with the paleontologist getting kicked in the head. Yeah. And then this one. And then they do a bunch of other ones. I'm not going to name all the other ones that they've done because I probably will revisit this every single time we go to an episode that they've done. But I like the episodes that they do. So far, the ones that they've done, Westy Side Story, Peggy the Boggle Champ, the Arrowhead. This is one I don't like.
Hank is very upset because not because the guy got kicked out of hell or he goes around doing evil. It's the fact that he
crashed a truck. You will feel my wrath.
You will feel my wrath.
You crashed the trucks. Was it a Ford? Hell no.
I need to ask you a question, though. Joe Sixpack, he's a drunk driver.
Yes, he is.
He died in a car crash, and he was sent to hell.
Sent to hell.
Okay. He borrowed Satan's truck.
Yep. Didn't ask, though. It's different if he would have asked.
And then he trashed it and got kicked out of hell.
Got kicked out of hell.
Okay. Doesn't that seem like something Satan would like?
Well, not if it's his truck. If he crashed your truck,
it bad?
Okay. I think it would be bad if it wasn't.
He rides buses and does evil. That's just the best. Funny. He rides buses and does evil.
That's a whole show right there in its own. Just imagine a TV show with
Joe Sixpack.
And you could even do stop motion animation with the G.I. Joe figurines from the like the 70s or whatever.
Mike Judge, we need that Joe Sixpack show.
Yeah, the Joe Sixpack. And then all he does is just ride on buses.
He rides on buses and does evil. He doesn't call you on your birthday and he throws bottles at your head.
Well, he helps old ladies onto the bus and takes their bus fare and pockets it.
And then chumps them off the bus.
So they get kicked off the bus.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
And he won't call you on your birthday.
No, he
either,
won't call you on your birthday.
What kind of a jackass is he?
No. All right, so we're back in the alley. Bill has a T-shirt on that says 4 days till Super Bowl. Who has a shirt that says 4 days until the Super Bowl?
Oh, we missed a joke before that.
Yeah.
He said, he crashed a truck, you will feel my wrath. And then I can't remember who says it, but he says, what are you throwing out,
this
Grandpa?
is in the alley. Yeah, he's back in the alley.
Okay.
Yeah, so we see Hank coming out, and he's still dressed as God.
Yeah.
So
he goes to throw something away.
Yeah, he goes to throw something away, and it's Dale.
Yeah.
He says, "What are you throwing out, Grandpa? The money I poured into the Social Security system."
Yeah.
He says, "No, it's for Luanne's puppet show. I'm playing God." And Bill pipes up, "Well, maybe God. We ought to ask who's going to win the Super Bowl." And then Dale, with his conspiracy theory, go ahead.
He goes, the game was pre-taped 6 months ago in the same Nevada hangar where they faked the moon landing. Yeah,
Then
it's
you
like
get
that
Boomhauer. Yeah,
it's like that dang old
Capricorn 1. Good movie. They ain't gonna fake no
them
staying on
staying
ground to
on
the little dude drinking Neil Armstrong. So, and then Bill says, "I hope you're ready for that party, Hank, because you only got 4 more days." And he's pointing to his shirt. You only got 4 more days to the
it's
Super
funny
Bowl.
because he's wearing all of the shirts at one time.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He
Yeah,
pulls
he
the
goes-
shirt off.
he
He
goes,
goes, Bill,
Bill,
the Super Bowl's in 3 days. He goes, damn, and he pulls the shirt off.
And he's got the
and he's
3-day
got the
shirt
3-day
on.
shirt on underneath
Gross.
that.
Bill is so gross.
Yeah, he's grungy.
But he keeps snacks in his couch, so that's good.
Yeah.
We are back in the garage and we're rehearsing, and Luanne is giving some real direction here to Hank. She's like, God's not angry on that line. He's vengeful. Let's try it again. And then in comes Peggy, a little nervous. Luanne, it's the TV station. And Luanne's like, hello. And Peggy starts talking to Hank. She just says, look how excited she is. A few days ago, she was talking like the world was coming to an end. You're a good man, Hank. He says, man. like he's still God. We did it. Channel 84 is putting Manger Babies on the air. It's UHF, Uncle Hank.
Ultra
high frequency. Which is
what's
damn
VHF
funny
that
line.
mean? Very high?
VHS was...
Not VHS, VHF.
Oh, VHF? I guess so. Very high frequency? Yeah.
One's ultra, then one's very.
Ultra and very. But UHF was first, right?
Well, then what happened to SHF? Super high.
Standard high frequency.
Or standard, yeah.
Standard middle
or
frequency.
LHF, low high frequency.
Low high frequency.
Yeah, low.
It goes beep,
LHF,
beep, beep,
yeah.
up and down. So Peggy responds with, Luanne, you have thrust your hands into something wonderful this time.
Yikes. Yeah, no, that was a real, I laughed at that one. That was a real,
It's such a
real
good
fucked
line.
up little joke. Yeah, it was a little funny one.
Thrust your hands into something wonderful. So Luann's like, hey, we better get back to work. We got a whole hour to fill on Sunday. And then Hank starts thinking. He's like, that didn't give us much time to get ready. I mean, this Sunday? Is it before or after the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And Luann's like, during.
Can you believe it? Yeah, they put us on against the year's highest rated TV event because they know we're the
hell?
one show that can beat it.
Like
Yeah,
any
nothing can
channel
beat
is going to
that.
preempt the Super Bowl to show a Christian puppet show. But
I
whatever,
don't know
Channel
what
84.
would. I'm trying to think of what you could put against the Super Bowl to beat the Super Bowl Super Bowl's ratings. So
the Puppy Bowl does real well.
it does.
Mm-hmm. Does real well. Have you seen it?
What
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
So if you turn it on Animal Planet during the Super Bowl, they have something called the Puppy Bowl. And it's this smaller version of a football field, and they release puppies against each other, and they
just run around.
They just run around.
Shit
Yeah.
on each other.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
funny. I've never heard of that. I'm gonna check that out.
It gets great ratings.
That's
Because
crazy.
it's just puppies running around.
yeah, it's just
you know?
puppies. That's all.
And then you usually have like a kitten dressed as a referee or something, and they're just all running around.
There had
in
to be
this
some like
damn
crazy
Super Bowl.
like world event happening at the same time for it to.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's
lose
really the only
ratings.
thing. I don't know
Yeah.
how you would even. She says,
Man walks on Mars, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah,
something
in the
like
same
that.
Nevada hangar.
But I think even that, but even that, I think they would schedule to not be at the time the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
is.
no, they would never do that. No, yeah.
She knows that it is a huge responsibility, but she says that they can do it with God on their side. They take another break, and this is Hank kind of going, ooh, he's starting to feel it now. If
he's like, oh,
if you really
no.
looked at him, he'd probably be pulling his collar out, that
He's
kind
like,
of thing.
oh damn, I don't mind doing this bullshit, but I don't want to do it during the Super
not
Bowl.
during
He's
the
like,
Super Bowl.
I can help Luanne, but Super Bowl is an event.
It's a big deal, man.
Yeah.
Big deal, especially here in Texas, even if our teams aren't playing.
Yeah, it is.
It's
the most, I think in the statistics show that the Monday after the Super Bowl is the most called in day all year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, even if you think about it, like this last Super Bowl was the night that we went to see Everything is Terrible.
Yeah.
And then we got back, and the Super Bowl was about half over. But it was my wife and her friend from work, and they were both sitting there watching the Super Bowl. It was about the halftime show when we got back home. And she had made this huge spread, all this different food, and it's just the freaking two of them there.
I think that's what it's all about, though, is food.
It is a lot
I
to do
think
with
that
food and drinks.
It's kind of like all holidays. It's just
God, think about
sit around
that.
eating
That was
some
Super
food.
Bowl Sunday when we went.
Yeah,
That was kind of crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was crazy that whole room was filled with people.
It was full,
It was
man.
packed out
It was full. Yeah,
on Super Bowl Sunday.
that was a great show.
Well, I guess people that generally go to watch those shows probably don't watch a lot of football.
Yeah, they're probably not a lot
Yeah.
into sports ball. So we come back and we're in Luanne's room. Hank comes in to check on her, and she goes, Uncle Hank, I just realized my octopus only has 6 legs.
Yeah, if I call him a sextopus, do you think it'll offend
Sextopus.
sensibilities?
He says, I'm sure you'll figure it out before Super Bowl Sunday. That's all he wants to talk about.
No,
is Super
he
Sunday.
goes, I'm sure you'll figure it out before Super Sunday. He goes,
Yeah.
I call it Super Sunday because that's when they play
Yeah.
the Super Bowl this Sunday.
I guess what I'm trying to say is,
I'm going to stay home and watch the game.
I'm gonna
I'm going
stay
to
and
stay
watch
at
the
the
game.
house and probably not go.
and she's like, what? You're in my show. He goes, Luanne, and he's trying to educate her here. You know, the Super Bowl is an event. We're having a party. I'm the host. She goes, so you mean you're not coming? And she starts tearing up.
Yeah, she's
you
getting
know,
upset.
I mean, she is getting upset. And he goes, no, that's not what I said exactly. I said I'm going to watch the game, but it could end early due to injuries or a terrorist attack.
Which you couldn't say anymore, yeah.
No, you really couldn't.
This is pre-September 11th.
So now we go back out to the room where they are getting ready for the big party, and we see Hank doing the chip in the dip test to make sure it's not going to snap like his legs. And Peggy says, you think I want to miss the Super Bowl? I got enough money on this game to cover the bath I took on the Dinah Shore Classic. So she is betting on women's televised golf.
Yeah, Dinosaur Classic, yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, Peggy continues to surprise me, yeah.
Yeah, she says, but I'll sit through that puppet show because Luanne asked me to. He said, Hank says, I'll be God on some other time, like Easter. That's during baseball season. Who cares?
Oh, so cover the bath means taking losses.
Yeah,
I
she
got
took
you.
a big loss on the Dinah Shore Classic.
cover the
Yeah.
bath. All right.
Peggy pops up with Hank, Luanne believes in you. How can you allow suffering in her world when you have the power to prevent it?
Yeah,
He says,
suffering is a part of every religion.
Every
Peggy.
religion.
I mean, look at what the Jews have been through, and you don't hear them complaining.
You never hear them complaining, he says, which is it's crazy. So now we're in there watching the Super Bowl with the guys. The best part of this is that they're all standing with their hats off and their hands over their hearts during the national anthem on the TV.
On the TV.
Which is fantastic.
And then what's even funnier is that they have a bet on the time that it takes for the song to be sung.
Yeah, he says
so they
3
time
minutes
it,
and 40 seconds.
And he says, okay, who had 3 minutes and 40 seconds? And then Boomhauer raised his hand and he grabs a bowl full of cash and hands it to him.
Just gets it to him. So Peggy is leaving, and she says, goodbye, Hank. Enjoy the Selfish Bowl. And she says, Luanne, I want you to know if Uncle Hank lets you down, honey, it doesn't mean that the world's a bad place. And she says, of course it does. And this takes place at Channel 84. She's helping Luanne do her hair. Yeah. We go back and forth between Channel 84 and Hank's house this whole time. We're back at Hank's house, and Bill says, check it out. Look at that play. Made it to a commercial. And then Hank wants to know, what the hell did Tina Turner's legs have to do with auto insurance?
Yeah.
And then the channel keeps changing. So you see the channel change from the Tina Turner legs commercial to Nancy in front of a weather map. And she says, this just in from the Super Bowl with 48 seconds left in the first quarter. It's 63 degrees, partly cloudy, which is a weird way to refer to things. She says, now stay tuned for the premiere of Luanne Platter's Manger Babies. And then Dale wants to know, why are you doing this, Hank? Why do you keep going back and forth? If I wanted to spend Super Bowl Sunday staring at my wife, I would have married Frank Tarkenton. Do you remember who Fran Tarkenton was?
Fran Tarkenton?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. And Hank's
also was a quarterback for the Giants too.
Yes,
he quarterback for the Giants.
And, maybe that's right. Maybe he never was with them.
No, he was.
But
he was with
married,
them first.
He's married to no, that's never mind. That's Frank Griffin. So anyway, Dale is wanting to know why this is happening, and Hank's like, I didn't do anything. He's just as confused as everybody else. Why he keeps switching back and forth. Then we go back to channel 84. You see Luanne on the ground. She's praying because she's about to go on. This guy comes up from behind her and says, Luanne, and she goes, Uncle, and realizes it's the guy that works at the station. He says, okay, Luanne, and this is really super weird to me that he goes, okay, Luanne, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2. I mean, like that quick? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
She's on the floor praying, but all right. The TV channel keeps changing back and forth. We see the Super Bowl with the announcer, and then it changes again. Hank's like, I didn't change it. Bill and everybody is pissed off at this point. And Bill, but it does change back. And Bill goes, damn, we missed it. Well, at least we get to watch him dance in the end zone. He goes, that's right. Come on. Come on. And then it switches again, and they're getting very upset. You see Luanne on channel 84 on the TV. She's like, come on, Manger Babies, I'll give you a ride. And she says, we don't need it. She's got Joe Sixpack out drunkenly trying to give the Manger Babies a ride.
Yeah, and what's funny is that even though Hank's not there, she acts like Hank's not there too. He's still there as a part in her show. Yeah. But since he's not physically there, she just continues on like God's not watching.
I mean, honestly, she didn't have time to change it. I mean, he really did drop a bomb on her.
No, he did. And then
she says, God is the designated driver tonight. God, and then she says, Joe Sixpack, God doesn't care about you. And she goes, how can you say that? God does care, and he will show it. And then we again are getting the back and forth with the TV channels. They say it's getting old, Hank. He says, it's not me. It's this damn remote control. Bill must have dropped crumbs in it.
Remember, he did fix the TV.
Yeah.
So he might not have fixed the TV all the way. And then we'll find out here in a minute further on down.
Find out what it really is.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Or what we thought it really was.
Right.
Which leads again back to Hank. Yeah. Hank's repair being the problem.
It's also learning a lesson. And so we go back and they talk about God having a flat tire because they're waiting for Hank to show up. God is needing to show up here. And Bill back at Hank's house, he's like, I don't know what the hell's going on, but all I know is this is where I start thinking, why don't they just get out of the house?
Yeah, so don't be an idiot. Yeah.
He's talking about a horror movie or something. And so you go back to Luanne, and she's like, God's not coming. He's watching the Super Bowl. Now get in. Hee-haw, we better do what he says. Hee-haw, this is our only ride. And then
Luanne, no, don't get in the car.
Well, and Hank's seeing her do this live.
He's screaming
on TV,
at the TV.
Why do you need a live version of this Christian puppet show? I don't really understand why you're doing it live, but okay. He is screaming that, and then he finally runs out of the house. He's going to go and take care of it. He just can't take it anymore. And then we go back to Luanne. She's like, if God doesn't get here soon, we're all going to die. And then she gets really super depressed. She's like,
hey, Joe Sixpack, just point your car at those oncoming headlights and let's get this thing over with.
And then the car goes off the cliff, and you see somebody catch it. Yeah. And Hank is like, yes, I have come. And
thank you, Uncle Lord.
Uncle Lord.
We never stop believing in you.
He says, the Manger Babies' faith has been rewarded. You are all saved. As for you, Joe Sixpack, anyone who drinks and drives is a real jackass. And so, of course, the donkey thinks that's very funny. Then here comes Peggy. She and the one thing I didn't mention is as this thing is going back and forth, we do see Peggy outside of the Hill house, like on the corner, switching the remote back and forth.
Yeah.
But Hank finally showed up. He saved the Manger Babies.
And then, boom, we get a celebrity appearance here by the one.
Well, hang on. Peggy says, hey, how does it feel doing something right? And he says, pretty good, I guess, but not as good as getting to watch the end of the Super Bowl. And then, like you said.
Boom, you get Troy Aikman. He goes.
What the hell? Where does Troy Aikman come from?
Well, the only reason why you get Troy Aikman's appearance is because Hank Hill loves the Cowboys. We're in Texas.
In Texas.
And it's Texas's team. At this point, it's America's team.
Troy Aikman eventually works for Fox as an announcer.
He does.
This was on Fox.
He might have even started around that time.
So I'm thinking he might just be hanging around.
1997. He just retired. He just retired around that time.
But my notes here say Troy Aikman for some reason.
He might have still been actively on the roster.
I think he was. Yeah.
In 97.
Yeah, I think he was with him for a few days. But Troy Aikman. It feels very much like a Dare commercial or something, like where they're teaching you a lesson from some celebrity or some guy's going to turn his chair around backwards and talk to the kids. He says the Super Bowl's always a blowout. This puppet show, it's a real knuckle biter. Okay, Troy Aikman, thanks so much. Peggy says, "My Lord, it's Troy Aikman."
Oh yeah, he was still playing then. He actually got NFL Man of the Year in 1997. That year.
I don't doubt that. I've never heard anybody talk about Troy Aikman being a jackass. I didn't like him because he played for the Cowboys, and I was not a Cowboys fan. But
yeah, he played all the way to. I didn't know he really realized he played much further past that, but he played all the way till the year 2000. Matter of fact, in 1997, he had a great season that year. He had a really good season. Yeah.
So Hank is very confused. He wants to know, what are you doing here, son? I mean, sir. He says, well, it's kind of a funny story. Some guys were snapping towels in the locker room, so I went to Bible study to get some perspective and saw a flyer for this show. So he went to Bible study from the thing because they were snapping towels. He saw a flyer and went ahead and came to this stupid live puppet show.
Was he eccentric or something, Troy Aikman, back in the day?
He
I don't really
wasn't.
know much
he
about
was like
him.
a straight up guy.
The most Troy Aikman I've got is watching some old football games and stuff like that.
The one thing I remember about Troy Aikman, I was living in Austin when they were so good.
Yeah.
And I remember passing this Acme billboard every day, and it was Troy Aikman for Acme Bricks. And I thought, man, that is like the most boring thing that you could possibly be the sponsor
Anything's
of.
a paycheck, yeah.
Yeah, but Acme Bricks, it was just, I don't know. It stuck with me for some reason.
Was he affiliated with their anvil division as well?
I don't know.
Maybe their pianos.
So
that's all, folks.
He says, it's sort of a little miracle, I guess. And Hank says, it was kind of a miracle that brought me here too. You see, I was watching my TV and it started flipping channels. And then in comes Bobby. He says, Mom, I hope you didn't mind that I borrowed the batteries from your remote control. Peggy's like, what remote control? I don't have a remote control. She's trying to hide it from Hank. He says, sure you do. In your purse, the universal remote control that can change any channel on any brand of TV. Yeah. I borrowed the batteries for my Game Boy. And she goes, when? He goes, before the Super Bowl. She goes, but if the remote had no batteries, how did I? And he goes, or after the Super Bowl. I don't remember.
Yeah, he's like, that's right.
And then it shoots to the outside of Channel 84 and the dark clouds part, and it's like a miracle.
Yeah, and all the sun starts shining and you get your whole moral tale there.
And I
like that. It was a good one.
And that's how we get the credits. That's
I like it and I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't know why I don't like it.
I get you. But
I like it.
The coolest thing is like when it goes to the credits, it plays that stupid MIDI Manger Babies song.
A cheap kid's piano sound.
Yeah, and then we get through the credits, and at the end, we get the stinger of Bill singing the touchdown dance song. That's right. Come on.
Yeah,
we
for
get
the stinger, yeah.
Yep. And that's it, man. That is season 2, episode 12.
My favorite episode not to like.
Yeah,
it wasn't that.
That's weird, man.
I don't know. It just wasn't. Okay, I'm not saying it's a bad episode. I'm not saying that I don't
I didn't take
entirely dislike it, but to be in the top 10 as much as it is on as many top 10 lists as I see, I just don't think it's a top 10 episode.
Yeah, I like
that's
the
my
fact.
only quarrel.
I like the fact that the Manger Babies become a running gag, though.
Yeah, they keep
because they show up several times.
It stays with the show, the Manger Babies, and that was a good one. That's your first Friday episode, guys.
Oh, really? Oh, this one is.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying they had a Friday episode. No, this is our Friday episode.
This will be our first Friday episode. Yeah. So we hope you enjoy us on a Friday as much as you did
enjoy
on Monday.
it. I feel like I've broken myself doing these 2 episodes in one day. But,
it's all good. We'll get there.
We're good.
I think there's still good episodes.
Hey, it's our first Friday episode. It is typically the day that Catholics don't eat red meat. And this one was all about religion.
And I mean at Red Lobster.
So I don't know
tonight,
if that. Are you?
Yeah.
You gonna get some of those
It's not Friday.
Cheddar Bay biscuits?
No, I don't understand why people like those biscuits.
Really?
I do not like those.
You don't like the Manger Babies and don't like the Cheddar Bay biscuits.
I do not like Cheddar Bay biscuits.
America's gonna turn on you.
Yeah. Well, There's better biscuits out there. I like steakhouse. When you go to a steakhouse and they give you like
better biscuits.
They give you like bread. I like bread.
Yeah.
I just don't like.
My mom used to make those things.
Wet,
though,
heavy biscuit
at the house,
just like wet,
and it was
heavy.
always like Bisquick, right? But it was probably the store brand Bisquick. And she would just make those and mix them with butter and throw a bunch of cheese in them and make those drop biscuits like that. You don't even form them.
I just don't think it's fine dining. The cheddar, like they bring you.
I have never
cheddar-y
thought
biscuit.
that Red Lobster was really fine dining, though.
Oh, I used to. That and Olive Garden.
Well, it
when I was a
used to be the
kid, Olive
place-
Garden used to be where I went for my birthday every year.
Well,
because I thought I was like
you get a lot
getting
of
to
prom
eat
dates
at
there
this
too.
elegant place, and it was just Olive Garden.
We had
That's what called being poor.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I get it. Well, I mean, for some
It's
folks,
like,
Applebee's is a big deal, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, well,
Or
I
it
don't think
used to be.
Applebee's was ever a big deal. The only time it was a big deal was when I was drinking and it had cheap alcohol.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
dollar
They do make big
margarita
drinks.
nights. You go in there and spend $40 and you're plenty drunk.
You're dead.
Yeah, plenty drunk.
All right, so tell them where they can find us.
You can find us at Bwaaa, Koth. That's BWAAKOTH. And that's on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Meta.
Are we on
The
Meta?
Metaverse. The metaverse.
We're gonna do
Well, what we're gonna do
metaverse.
is we're gonna get I have a friend with a 3D camera to do the 3D deal. We're gonna get him in here,
nice.
and we're gonna do 3D VR King of the Hill Bwaaa podcast episodes.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be
revolutionary.
Great. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm gonna need some extra.
You'll
VR.
be able to stand behind Mike while he records his podcast.
Yeah, I'll be over in the corner doing the AR part where you point your phone at it and something pops up on your phone.
And I'll do the
You can do
ASMR part.
We'll both do ASMR. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get all the R's covered.
Okay, there
yeah,
you
that'll
go.
be great. All right. You could also check out some other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Big
Check
face.
them out. They got some good stuff on there.
Big facelift on the website. Looks great.
Yeah, it does. It looks really good.
And we'll be back again next week with season 2, episode 13 and probably 14.
14, yeah, for Friday. So yeah, Monday you'll get 13, and then Friday you should get 14.
And hey, one more time, can't thank you guys enough for listening.
Yeah, we appreciate it. You know, y'all are making our day as much as we make yours.
Share it with your grandfather and
Everybody.
and that one weird
Eventually,
uncle.
I'm gonna try to have business cards printed. Well,
Stickers.
stickers,
We need
something
some
like
stickers.
that, and
We need some shirts.
we will. We're merch. Period. We need to see. We're contemplating merch and stuff, but
Merch.
I don't think we're there just yet for like a full line of merch. But if we do a business card or something like that, and anybody would want one, just DM me at Bwaaa KOTH on Instagram.
Here's what I'm gonna say, and this is maybe a little bit of information that you don't have right this minute.
Okay.
On the merch front,
Oh yeah.
if anybody's interested in merch, let us know
Okay.
because we may have some hookups.
Yeah, if you're interested in Bwaaa KOTH merch, let us know, and then we'll come up with the design. Or
ya.
you could come up with the design and send us designs.
What I would absolutely love is if somebody would take pictures of us and draw us as King of the Hill characters.
Yeah, if anybody out there has that talent, we're willing to pay for that. So just let us know.
I am not willing to pay for that.
Oh, you're not? I would. I'd be willing. I'd be willing to pay for somebody to pay to draw. I'm sure that it
No,
would
it'd be
be
great.
expensive.
Yeah.
I've seen there is an artist that does King of the Hill stuff
I'm
like
sure.
that.
There's a ton
I've
of
got to
those
see if I can
Simpsons
find him
ones
again on
and
the
stuff, too.
Instagram, because there was somebody specifically on Instagram that was doing that, and it was really cheap. It was like $25.
Yeah, man.
$30 a character.
But yeah, if you guys are interested in merch or interested in anything else for us to do, let us know.
Any type
as long
of
as it's legal,
ideas
we'll do
you
it.
guys have, we're gonna run 2 episodes a week for a little while, see how it goes, and then after
Rusty's
that,
trying to
we're
kill me.
contemplating a video element. So
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Luanne.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.